guys, I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and 10 months ago, Google revolutionized the game with Android. They opened up the web store and they launched the Nexus 1. It was made by HTC, and at the time it was revolutionary. You know, it had Android 2.1, 1 gigahertz processor, stuff that wasn't on the market at the time. It was a substantial leap from technology to technology, so it was a cool device. Unfortunately, it didn't sell that well, so they're taking a new approach with the Nexus S, their newest device made by Samsung, and it's available at Best Buy locations starting on December 16th for $199. Different sales model, different approach, but you have to ask, it has a 1 gigahertz processor as well, 4-inch display, 5 megapixel camera, front-facing camera, and it's running Android 2.3 or Gingerbread, so it's a cool device, but in terms of gaps between the Android devices, it's not as big as it was when the Nexus 1 came out. Can it hold its own? Will it be the device to have for the holiday season? We'll find out in the full review. So let's take a look at the browser. You know, the changes between Froyo and Gingerbread aren't that many, or few and far between, but let's take a look here. We'll go to PhoneDog.com. And we'll wait for that to load. And while we're doing that, let's open up the menu. You can see the colors of the menu have changed. It's black now versus, again, that drab gray that you remember from the notification bar. So again, they migrated from this kind of drab gray to this black, which, you know, works on two fronts. One, because this is a Super AMOLED display, it optimizes battery life, because on a Super AMOLED display, the darker the colors, the better. It prolongs battery life. And also, you know, it looks more aesthetically pleasing to me, but again, like everything else in this world, it's going to be a love-hate thing. Here's PhoneDog. The pinch to zoom works reasonably well, even with Flash installed. You can see the ads up there. Pinch to zoom, still pretty fast. Whoops, that was my fault. Still pretty fast there, and you can do that, and then you can double tap to zoom in or zoom out as well. So you do that. You know, wrap to text has been pretty quickly. Wrap to text, and wow, that was a bad joke. You get the idea. The text wrapping on the page, and then that was a bad joke. Wow. Then the pictures. Wow, I just got sidetracked by that bad joke too. That's even worse. So the pinch to zoom works pretty well. Getting back on track, and again, typical browser stuff. No big changes here. You can bookmark. You can add windows, so we can jump over and go to another window, like CNN, for example, and we'll hit go. And then while that's loading, you know, we can jump back. So again, you know, no real change there, but that's available in the Android browser. Landscape mode works pretty well. And again, the transitions are relatively quick. So all in all, it's been a pretty quick device. And, you know, despite the fact that, to me at least, in my testing of all these devices over the summer, I find that the Hummingbird processor devices, Nexus S, Galaxy S devices, Continuum, etc., seem to operate a little bit slower than their Snapdragon counterparts or their Texas Instruments counterparts. That said, this one's been very fast. There's been no lag whatsoever. A little to no lag. Been one of the best ones that I've worked with so far this year. So the Nexus S has two cameras actually, a 5 megapixel rear-facing camera with a flash and a front-facing camera as well, both of which work pretty well. I've been very impressed with the back camera, as I was with most of the Galaxy S devices. You know, for a 5 megapixel camera, it is one of the best on the market. I mean, absolutely fantastic camera. You know, there's a lot of light shining down right now, as there always is, but the picture quality is absolutely fantastic. So we'll zoom in on this, take a look. And you can see, you know, it doesn't quite do it justice when we're doing it on camera like this, but you can see autofocus works well, and just a great picture. We'll go into the gallery to take a look. Fantastic picture. They're very easy to see the colors. The Super AMOLED screen makes the picture pop. And you can see, here's a picture of text I took earlier in the week, or on the weekend rather. And you can see fantastic quality on that front. The text is clear, and again, the display makes it look absolutely great. I'm not sure who that good-looking sexy man is right there, but do believe, oh, that's my iPhone. That it cracked, it fell in concrete. So one of the sad things that happened this weekend. But anyway, the camera's been very good, been pleased with it, and we'll take a look at some of the editing options as well. You can see it's a standard Android layout when it comes to the menu. I can click the menu and I can hit switch camera here, switch to video gallery, or if I want to switch cameras another way, I can click right there, and where it says select camera, I can migrate it to the front and do it that way. Hello, hello. Say hey, guys. Say hey. Okay. You can do that, and you can hit the white balance. You can change the white balance of the picture. You can hit the store location, change that, and you can change the exposure, the picture quality, the color effect, things of that nature. And then switch back pretty easily to the rear camera. So nice functionality out of the gate there with some nice improvements rather to the stock Android camera application. Let's take a look at the quadrant standard scores and the speed test scores and call it an evening after that. But you know, one of the things for me, I hate to spoil the fun, but the quadrant standard scores, I've already ran several, and they've been around the high 1600s, low 1700 range. In comparison, the MyTouch 4G, a T-Mobile competitor, if you will, even though this device is sold unlocked, gets between 1850 and 1913, depending on the test. So, you know, out of the box, it is not it does not claim the title, at least in my unofficial testing, doesn't claim the title of the fastest Android device on the market, even between its competitors on the network it's kind of launching on. So, something to keep in mind there. But you know, call quality's been fantastic. I've been very pleased with call quality. I love the way the curved display, how it works when you're using it as a phone. Easy to hold up. I think I accidentally hit the button, sorry. Easy to hold up, very easy to use, and no challenges on it front. I took it to a dead spot in Southeast Charlotte, T-Mobile dead spot in Southeast Charlotte, and was able to hold the call. It got choppy. It acted like it was going to break up, but it never did, so that was a nice touch. And I was through it in about 1.5 miles, so I was able to continue the call. Speakerphone's been pretty good as well. I tested it in 2 busy coffee shops, and I don't test it for longer than about 2 seconds, because obviously that would be annoying. I would be that customer, but I've been very pleased with the speakerphone as well. So all in all, call quality's been fantastic. Data connectivity's been fantastic. No issues whatsoever there. Okay, I don't know why it gets funky with quadrant standard. I had no issues whatsoever with it, but it wasn't cooperating there for a second. I'm not sure if it's compatibility with Gingerbread or what, but you can see the performance was actually much faster that time around, 1880. I've been pulling, the fastest I've seen on this device was 1690, I believe. A couple of days ago when I was doing testing, did a couple back-to-back, and that's the fastest that I saw. So needless to say, that's much better, and if it holds at 1880, that puts it as a direct competitor to the MyTouch 4G. Still, I've seen 1913 on this, so I still have to give it to the MyTouch 4G, and I'm not sure what's going on. Your quadrant standard has been widely reported to not be that reliable, so you know, I hold out further judgment until I make sure it's reliable, but that gives you a rough idea of what the speed is like. So we'll go into speed tests as well. You know, it's funny because this is not an HSPA Plus device, so it does not take advantage, at least directly, of T-Mobile's 4G speeds. That said, I've been pretty pleased. I'm going to put it down so you can see. I've been pretty pleased with the speed test speeds. They've been very good thus far. You know, I've been pulling highs of about 4.5 megabits per second, between 3 and 4.5 megabits per second, and that's actually one of the lower scores I've seen. The other day I was doing it, and it was consistently 4 megabits per second, 4.1, which for a non-HSPA Plus device, at least in this area, is pretty good. On this time around, you got 3,402 kilobits per second, 1.2 megabits per second on the upload, 3.4 on the download. Not too bad in the slightest. So, you know, again, not an HSPA Plus device, but definitely gets the job done. It got the job done enough to the point where I didn't realize or didn't really pay attention to the fact that it didn't have HSPA Plus. So all in all, is this the best Android device? Is this the one to have? You know, it's a cool device, and if you're an Android user that wants the latest and the greatest, you know, it is, while the specs aren't incredibly faster than what's on the market right now, the fact that it's running Android 2.3 should be enough to sway you if you're a diehard Android junkie. That said, it's not running HTC Sense, my TouchWiz, or Moto Blur. So, you know, for a first-time Android smartphone buyer, even a mid-range or intermediate buyer, I wouldn't recommend this device. I still think, even in 2.3 form, Android, at least in its vanilla form, is not ready for consumer adoption. It's good for hardcore users, good for people that know what they're doing. But you know, when I look at something like this, and then I look at something like this, giving you prep for the dogfight, which is going to come in a couple days. Look at this versus look at this. You know, this just seems much more consumer friendly to me than this does. Very vanilla here, Sense on this one, but again, consumer friendly. So it depends on who you are and what you want. That said, I mean, there's no denying the fact that the Nexus 1, when it came out, you know, it was leaps and bounds ahead of anything else. Whereas this came out, and yeah, it's, you know, it's ahead. It's a cool device. The curved display is a nice touch, and all in all, it's a good phone. But it's not nearly as far ahead as the Nexus 1 was. You know, and that said, the build quality is going to be a love-hate thing. It's, you know, plasticky build, just like the Galaxy S devices. It feels good. It's sturdy.